And we're back here at Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with David Clement, no relation. He is the North American Affairs Manager at the Consumer Choice Center. David, we were just talking off air there about the environmental impact of some of these housing choices or non-choices. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, so research published by the Intergovernmental Panel on Climate Change forecasts that more compact cities could reduce urban emissions by upwards of 25%. That is a significant reduction in urban emissions just by allowing people to live closer to where they work and live closer to where they want to go to the movies or eat or have their children in daycare, any of the things that you traditionally drive for. But beyond emissions, it's also water usage. So the irrigation rates for single family homes are about 50% higher than multifamily housing units. And so at the local level or the provincial or federal level, we have politicians who very passionately care about the environment and have put forward some very bold, some very foolish, some very effective policies to deal with climate change. But there is one glooming one that's kind of staring at us in the face, and that's zoning reform. And so it really is an important topic. And it not only are we protecting the environment, we're creating a more affordable city or country for people to live in. We're welcoming more neighbors. For me, it feels like the quintessential Canadian thing to do, while at the same time generating better environmental outcomes. So for me, it really is a no-brainer.
Right, right. So it's curious that really, are we starting to see that argument being played out, or is this a relatively new aspect of the crisis?
I think that for folks like myself who have been talking about this at length, this is something that we focus on. But I don't think it has crossed over into kind of the collective political conscience of the electorate yet. It would be great to see some leadership on this, because it really is a solid justification for zoning reform.
Right.
For folks on the left who deal with NIMBY opposition or deal with the perception that development equals bad environmental outcomes, and that's certainly not the case.
Just turning over to sort of a broader issue for a second, and I think you've kind of answered this, but let me put it this way. Is this more of a demand issue or more of a supply issue?
It's a supply issue. It doesn't mean that there aren't issues with demand, but it really is a supply issue. And so, as I said, Canada ranks dead last in the G7 for housing units per 1,000 people. And I mean, those are the countries who are the easiest for us to compare ourselves to in terms of purchasing power parity and economic standards and things like that. We need to build 1.8 million new housing units to catch up to our G7 peers.
Wow.
That's how dire the situation is. So it really is a supply issue. There are some demand side questions, questions about money laundering. That's predominantly on the West Coast. There are monetary policy questions on whether Bank of Canada policy has maybe worsened housing price inflation. I think that those are all valid. But at the end of the day, the root cause of this is that we just do not have enough homes for the amount of people that we live here, that we have live here. And we don't have enough homes if we want our population to grow at all, which I think we certainly do.
And I guess exacerbated because we do have immigration totals, new immigrants every month, every year, right?
Yeah, I mean, immigration plays a role here. I think that immigration, as we currently have it, is still a exponential net benefit. I don't love when immigration is brought up by immigration restrictionists
Right.
as the root cause of the housing crisis. That is not it. That is a red herring in terms of what the problem is. But if we want to talk about immigration, let's build more homes so that it's more affordable for the immigrants who do come to Canada to make a life for themselves, to gain employment, to not spend over 40% of their income on rent or a mortgage payment. That would be, I think, what would help fuel economic growth in this country, help us really lean on the economic benefits of immigration while bringing prices down for those Canadians who've been here for a long time and those who are new Canadians.
We're going to take a brief break. We'll be back with our guest after that. Please stay with us.